What I'm gonna chase you for? I'm the one with the coochie. You better stand on business. Don't let him play with you, girl. You can go. But the minute he got some, I was pregnant.
One step 달려와줘 like 날 사랑한다고 가져왔던.
Hello beautiful people and welcome to Bomb Kiss TV. So today's video is brought to you by Alididi Hair. That's this beautiful unit they sent over. I will have all the information to this wig in the description box below. So this is their 613 and it is absolutely gorgeous. I do want to give them a huge shout out for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get into the tea, okay? Today we are going to be going over 5 tips, my top 5 tips on how to set and keep expectations with these men. You gotta stand on business. You not standing on business. You better stand on business. Like, you better stand on business. Don't let him play with you, girl. At some point, y'all, we have to stand on business. We gotta stand on business, okay? So tip number 1 on having expectations with these men. I know it's hard out here and I get that, but we're gonna get through this together, okay? So tip number 1 to having expectations with men would be you have to attract, you cannot chase. That is just number 1. When you are the seeker and the courter and you are the one going after the man, you have already reversed the roles and kind of somewhat teaching him that you're going after him and you seek him and you're going to be the one courting him. And I feel like that already is coming off on a bad start. I know that they say, like, don't be afraid to shoot your shot and this, that, and the third. But I feel like when you go after the man, you're just starting the expectation of, like, I feel like it's the man's job to go after the woman. It's the man's job to pursue the woman. It's the man's job to plan the date. So when you shoot your shot, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with shooting a shot, but I'm just saying when it comes to having that expectation of being treated like a lady, like a princess, like you are the prize and he is lucky to talk to you or be in your presence, you have to let him come to you. Any man that had the opportunity to come to you and didn't and you went to him first, I feel like you're not in your feminine energy and you're not setting the expectation of you being the prize and him needing to chase you. And later down the relationship, that will show. You'll be the one asking when y'all are hanging out. You'll be the one hitting him up first in the morning. You'll be the one making sure he made it home from work. You'll be the one asking him what he wants for dinner. You'll be the one that's initiating any and every advancement in the relationship. You'll be the one to bring up marriage. You'll be the one to bring up kids. You'll be the one to bring up everything because he didn't come to you in the first place. You came to him. So from that point forward, it's like cat and mouse, you know? But it shouldn't be like that because you got the coochie, okay? What I'm gonna chase you for? I'm the one with the coochie. So it's tip number 1, do not chase, attract. Let that man come to you. Let him work hard for your attention. Let him understand that he's gonna have to be the one to step up instead of you groveling and gravitating and squirming for his attention. You know what I'm saying? I know social media will have you thinking like, girl, you better shoot your shot and this, that, and the third. Social media will have you feeling like, you know, if you want something, you gotta go get it and all this. But I feel like if you put yourself in a space, let's say you go out to a bar or whatever, and you sit at the bar and you order a drink and there's a guy sitting next to you and he doesn't strike conversation with you. He sees you sitting there for whatever reason, whether he's married, he doesn't find you attractive, or whatever the reason may be. If by the end of the time that you've been there, if he didn't shoot his shot, it would be very silly of you to be like, so what brings you here tonight? Like, don't you feel like a boy for doing that? Like, don't do that because he sees you. And if he wanted you, he would have gotten you. And that's just how I feel. You would much rather have a man in your presence who is going to come for you versus someone who's going to make you come for them. Okay? We are not chasing these niggas, baby. There's niggas everywhere. Niggas everywhere. You don't chase them. Trust me. You want someone who wants you. Anytime I have entered a situation and I like semi-initiated it and did not make that person like come for me, it either didn't work out or I ended up regretting it. It wasn't necessarily a relationship because it didn't even get that far. But, like, just people that I have dated in the past, if I like shot my shot or if I let it be known that I was just as interested in him as he was in me, that is more of a lack of mindset. Like when you are When you are acting that way, it's because you don't have whatever you're looking for. If you had someone around that was treating you nice and being sweet to you and showing you all the love and attention, you wouldn't be out seeking validation from other men. So it just makes you look desperate, and it makes you look like you are willing to step out of your feminine element if it means that he will like you back, which is not the energy we want. Like I said, we are setting the expectation, okay? And I feel like I said, if you don't set that, you will pay for that later down in the relation/situationship. You will be able to tell the difference from if a man sought out to be with you versus if you initiated everything. You don't want that, ladies. So that's tip number one. Get out of that need a man mindset and let the man come to you. I know it may take 6 months, it may take a year, but if you put yourself in the spaces required to meet a quality man or to meet a man in general, he'll find you. But what we're not gonna do is chase his ass, okay? Tip number two, you have to be upfront about your intentions in the beginning. You have to set that expectation in the beginning. I swear to God, where a lot of us mess up is we be so eager to just have someone that when we get them, we feel like, oh, we could change them. Like, as long as we get them, then we can make them how we want in the end. Like, no, you have to set those expectations in the beginning so that they know not to play with you, because every man is going to try to play with you in some way, shape, or form or fashion. Believe me, baby. But I feel like if you are upfront in the beginning about, these are the things that I expect. And I'm not saying you should lay out every little thing you want in a man, because all he's going to do is pretend to be whatever you describe for the first few months, and then he's going to act a monkey ass fool. So I'm not saying lay out everything you want in the beginning, because all they do is take that as a blueprint and they try and be that as long as they can until they can't fake it anymore. What I'm saying when I say be upfront about your intentions in the beginning is, I feel like, for example, if you have plans with a man, go to dinner at 7, and let's say you guys just started dating, it's been a month or so, you guys have been dating, and y'all have plans to go to dinner at 7 p.m. and he calls you at 7 and says he's on his way to come get you. You need to set the expectation then and there and let him know, oh, sorry, I thought we had plans at 7. When I didn't hear from you at 5, I assumed that we were no longer going. I have other plans now. We'll have to reschedule. That way you are setting the expectation with him that you are going to keep your word with me, and I'm not going to allow you to come in and out as you please. I feel like a lot of times we don't be upfront with those expectations in the beginning. So by the time y'all actually start catching the feelings and stuff, and he starts playing games or like doing little things to test you out, and then you're trying to set those expectations after y'all have already been dealing with each other for however long y'all have, and now it's kind of like too late. It's kind of like potty training a dog. Like, you have to potty train the dog when they're a baby. If you let the dog be a damn near full ass grown adult, you're good luck trying to potty train the dog. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Like, you have to let the expectations be known from the beginning of the interactions. That way they know, this is not gonna fly, and if you want to deal with me, you're gonna have to act accordingly. And there's ways to do it without nagging or being upset or coming off like a bitter Black woman and things of that nature. For example, I've been in situations where, at work and in my personal life, where people think that, we just started seeing each other and they think they can play around and do things. And I had to let them know, if you want this to continue to work, this XYZ, I didn't like that, and this is how I expect things to be from this point forward, or I'm not sure what you're used to, but that's not gonna work if you want to continue this friendship. You know what I mean? And just let it be known that if they keep doing it, that's when you have to decide whether you want to deal with it or not. You don't have to deal with a damn thing. So it's one of the things where you have to set that expectation up front so that down the line, you're not trying to reverse behavior that should have never been there in the first place. I feel like a lot of men shy away from things once you start nagging. Once you sow disappointment, that will make a motherfucker straighten up. Set those expectations in the beginning. Set them in the beginning. If he tells you he's going to take you on a trip, and he tells you this and y'all have been discussing it, and he doesn't take you, girl, go on a trip by yourself. Let it be known, well, since we were talking about going on the trip, I got really excited. I know you weren't able to go, and but I decided to still go. I was able to still make a way for me to go. I just was so excited about it. I'm really disappointed that it wasn't with you, but maybe we'll go another time. I bet you he will not tell you he's gonna take you on a trip and not take you again, because he's gonna be wondering who you went with, what are y'all doing, where are y'all at, and the whole nine. Like, you show the disappointment and you set that expectation early on so that you are not trying to reverse these behaviors down the line, okay? I don't think any man is perfect. I think some men are better than other men. I do not think there's no such thing as a perfect husband. There's no such thing as a perfect boyfriend. People are gonna make mistakes. People are gonna mess up. But I feel like when you set those big expectations in the beginning, straighten all that out. Either they're gonna get on board or they're not. Show the disappointment, let them know how the action made you feel, and let them know what you expect, and either they abide by that or they can move around. Precisely. Now, a lot of these things I have learned navigating throughout my early 20s. I'll be 30 this year. So like I said, a lot of these things I have learned over time. And I want you to know that I'm speaking and giving these tips from experience. I am not pulling this shit out my ass. I am telling you what will and will not work, okay? Everyone's different. Do what works for you, but I'm telling you from experience, these things will not work. For example, the setting expectations in the beginning. I had an ex. Well, we weren't ever officially in a relationship because that expectation wasn't set, but I dealt with this man for years. And he just kind of like, I initially came for him. Now, when I came for him, he came hard right back. But I initiated our first interaction as like a flirty thing. I initiated that. So he already felt the expectation that he was the catch from the beginning. So once we started talking and stuff, he would do little things that really upset me, disappointed me. But I would never show disappointment. I would always argue and try and have like talks and conversations. And men just don't operate that way. Unfortunately, they don't. And he would do things that would really upset me. And I never set the expectation with him of, if you do this to me, I will not talk to you again. I will not deal with you if you continue to do these things. I've told you I don't like them. I never set that expectation. So what did he do? Whenever it was convenient, he kept doing it. And I never, up until the last time that we dealt with each other, I never set that expectation of, you know, you will treat me as such, you know, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, whether we have situationship, sneaking, it don't matter. Whatever space that we are operating out of, you will treat me as such. I never set that expectation for him. Instead, I would always whine and nag about how I didn't like what he did, which to women, that's enough. If a man tells us they don't like something, we most likely will not do it. But for him, it was he didn't care. I never really set the expectation. He knew I didn't like it, but he knew I had never laid down the laws of the land, as in like, if you keep operating from this energy, I will not fuck with you no more. So he knew he could keep doing it, and that I would still answer the phone when he called. He might have to hear me bitch for a little bit, but we'd get over it, go have drinks, we'd be intimate, he'd take me on a date, and everything would be fine again. He knew that. He knew deep down inside, whether I liked what he did or not, I was still going to deal with him after the fact. If I hadn't have initiated our interaction in the very first place, we had a mutual friend. I initiated our interaction. I asked him for his social media. We had kind of knew each other through mutuals and stuff. And I asked him for his social media and gave him my number without him even asking for my number. It was just like, I came on to him. And at the time, I thought it was cute. But it's really some masculine shit. Like, a man is supposed to come for you. Like, if he wanted to deal with me, he would have came with me. But if a woman throws herself at you, you're going to deal with her, but you're not going to treat her like a princess, because she's not acting like a princess. She acting like a nigga. That's exactly what happened. He pretty much did me however he wanted to, on and off for years, until I finally had to put my foot down. Like, you know what? I'm not letting you come back into my life. Like, you've played this game long enough. I will not be dealing with this anymore. You know what I mean? And a few years ago, I put my foot down, and I have not talked to him since. He did try and come back into my life after I drew that line, but I feel like at the end of the day, a nigga gonna be a nigga, right? But I feel like me coming onto him, that's what's tip number one. You attract, you do not chase. Me coming onto him set the wrong expectation from the jump. And then when he did things that I didn't like, I did not set that expectation up front. I feel like when you first start dealing with somebody, you have to let it be known what is and isn't allowed. When you first get a dog, if you don't want him on the bed, you cannot ever let him on the bed. And if he jumps on the bed, you have to beat his ass and put him in the kennel or put him in the backyard for a while, okay? That's just how it is. Once you let the dog on the bed, they're gonna think it's okay for them to get on the bed. They're gonna keep doing it. So you have to lay down the laws of the land early on. You cannot expect a man to keep up with expectations that you never set. You have to be upfront about your expectations in the beginning. Okay, and tip number 3 is to have expectations with yourself. Ladies, y'all see how that dropped on the beat? But no, real shit. Have expectations with yourself. Like, you have to be crazy as hell to think that if you don't have expectations with yourself and how you treat yourself, that a man is going to come along and treat you better than you treat yourself. You're crazy if you think that. Like, if you treat yourself good, you're not going to allow a man to come around and treat you anything less than that, because you already treat yourself good. So, what do you look like accepting less than that? If you do not have expectations for yourself, do not expect a man to come around and have expectations with you. Or do not expect a man to meet your expectations when you're not meeting them yourself. You expect him to do things for you that you don't even do. It's kind of like, realistically, are you even worthy of that treatment because you're not giving it to yourself? You say you want to be taken out and taken to nice places and stuff, but do you do that stuff for yourself? Why the fuck would he do it if you don't do it for yourself? Okay? You expect him to dress a certain way when you guys go out, or buy you flowers, or buy you gifts, or be loyal and show you love. But do you buy yourself flowers? Do you buy yourself gifts? Do you shower yourself with love? Or do you kind of treat yourself like shit and he knows it and he's watching you treat yourself like shit, so he know he ain't gotta treat you no better? She don't even treat herself good. Why the fuck would I come around treating her good? She don't even treat herself good. And I know there's gonna be somebody out there with some fairy tale story like, when I met my husband, I didn't love myself, and he loved me even when I didn't love myself, and he showed me how to love. Okay, that's not, we're adults. That's not nobody's responsibility. It's nobody's job to show you how to love yourself. If someone introduces you to new things in life or different ways of living, that's one thing, but no one should be teaching you how to pour love into yourself. That is ridiculous. So, like I said, the third tip, you have to have expectations with yourself and hold yourself to that standard before you have those expectations with another human being, especially a man, and think that they're going to abide by those expectations. They're not. If you cook yourself healthy meals 24/7, do you think that a man is going to call you and be like, hey baby, what you want to eat? You want some McDonald's? Do you want some fish sticks? No. If you're typically cooking healthy and he knows you are trying to put healthy things in your body, he gonna call you like, babe, do you want something from Whole Foods? Do you want some Chipotle? Do you want some this? Do you want some that? It's gonna be something realistic that's kind of healthy. But if you are always eating fast food, of course he's gonna call you and ask if you want something from Sonic. You always eating it. What's different? Why would he stop and get you something from Chipotle or something a little on the healthier side if you always eating bullshit? It don't make sense. You're expecting him to do something that you don't even do. Now you get around him and now you want to demand this and that. Bitch, you don't eat like that anyway when I'm not around, so why you start eating like that now? Do that make sense? Because it don't make sense to me. So that's why I'm saying you have to hold yourself to that standard that you are trying to hold the man to. That's all I'm saying, okay? Hold yourself to that standard. You have to make sure he knows he has to treat you at least how you treat yourself, if not better. And that's just Mando. It's mandatory. Like, if you gonna come around, you gotta let him know. You ain't no chili cheese dog ass bitch. Like, if that's, I ain't nothing wrong with chili cheese dog. I'm not saying that in this, but I'm just saying how you treat yourself and the expectation you have yourself is ultimately gonna teach people around you how to treat you. So you just kind of have to demand that and walk in that energy on your own without a man, so that when a man comes around, he know he got a step. You know what I'm saying? He gonna know he can't come around really playing because, she doing all this shit for herself. She buying herself flowers, okay? What do I look like not getting them from time to time for her? She taking herself out on dates, but I don't ever take her nowhere. She ain't gonna want to keep fucking with me. She taking herself out. I don't ever take her on no dates. This ain't gonna work. So like I said, you have to have the expectations with yourself before you can try and hold anyone in your life to that standard, but especially a man. So tip number 4, make sure that this kind of ties in with tip number 3, but tip number 4, make sure that their day-to-day reflects something of the same interests and expectations of your day-to-day. So it kind of ties in with tip number 3, but if you have the expectation for a man to be fit and for a man to be disciplined and for a man to hold his word and stuff like that, he gets around you and he's always standing his mother up. He's making plans with his mom and then not going. He's telling his friends he's going to do stuff and then not doing it. He's telling his sister, I'm going to buy you some diapers for your baby, and then not doing it. If you're watching him throughout his day-to-day fail every other person in his life, then what makes you think that you're going to be any different? Riddle me that. You're not. His day-to-day is just as important as your day-to-day. If you are not showing up as the expectations that you are demanding, he's not gonna mirror that. Like, y'all have to make sure as individuals, y'all's expectations with each other and with yourselves somewhat mirror each other, so that I'm not saying y'all have to have the exact same interest in life, but you do have to make sure that y'all's day-to-day life kind of mirrors each other. Like, does he go to work? Is he providing for himself? Are you, like, you know, like, are you guys on the same wavelength mentally? Like, is there a chance that it could even work? Because if you're dealing with someone who goes through life, their day-to-day looks different every single day. There's no structure. They don't care what they eat. They're not taking care of their body. They're being a terrible son, cousin, father to everyone else around them. That matters. Like, that same ex I was telling you about before, he used to neglect his kids like crazy. And he would lie to me about the reasons why he was neglecting his kids. And at first, I did get involved. Me and his son, his oldest son, well, second or oldest, I don't know, I think it was his oldest son. Me and him grew a slight bond, and I ended up being somewhat cool with the mom. And I found out later in life that everything he was telling me was a lie. But initially, he was making me think that none of his baby mamas fucked with him, and none of them wanted him to be a part of the kid's life, and all this, that, and the third. But he was really just neglecting them. And to me, it's like, he used to tell his kids, like, I will pick you up from school this day, or I'll pick you up from the house this day, and not go. And then he would tell me, like, oh yeah, so-and-so said that we can't get so-and-so today because of X, Y, and Z. She's mad at me, so I can't get my son. So I'm thinking, bitter baby mama. No, this man was just really, like, real life standing his kids up. Like, and I'm laying down with this man. And if I'd have known that, like, I can't expect him to not stand me up, and he's standing his own seeds up. Your day-to-day matters. Their day-to-day matters. So make sure person that you are wanting to deal with, the man or woman that you are wanting to have the expectations and hold them to that standard of, make sure their day-to-day consists of holding expectations with the other people in their lives. You know, if you're dating someone and he tells his mom that he's going to take her out to dinner, and then when it's time to go to dinner, he stands her up, don't you dare be mad or fix your lips to be mad when he stands you up, because bitch is coming. Okay, you thought it was cute, he stood his mom up when he's supposed to take his mom to dinner. Trust me, he is going to stand you up too. His day-to-day and how he shows up for other people in his life is just as important as how he shows up for you. He may not be doing that to you right this second, but eventually he gonna do it to you. That man was standing his kids up, his own sons, and I had the nerve to think he wasn't gonna never stand me up. Please, that nigga was standing me up left and right, making plans with me, not answering the phone, like, just standing me up. That's because his day-to-day, he was showing up as that same person to everyone in his life. I wasn't special. I was not special. So make sure your day-to-day reflects as such, and theirs needs to do the same. Make sure the day-to-day is reflecting someone who's capable of being held to those standards, okay? Your day-to-day matters, and their day-to-day matters. I'm almost done with this. We are on our last tip. I'm just trying to melt this lace in a little bit more. But the last tip is to show up in a way that demands the expectations be met. So you have to show up looking and exuding energy of someone who does not play around. So me and my boyfriend right now, the guy I'm dating right now, we have been dating for, I want to say it's about to be 2 years. Okay. And I have to show up with him as he know, put it this way, he know I don't play. Okay, in the beginning of our relationship, it's weird because the way we met is very weird, and it made the relationship start off kind of like difficult the way we met. That's a whole other story for a whole other day. But the way we met did not assist in my expectations in some areas, but it kind of did. So like in the beginning, I ain't gonna lie, he tried me in the beginning, and I had to let him know I'm not to be fucked with. Like I am not the one. Like my boyfriend that I have right now, like he tried me. At the beginning of our relationship, he really did try me. This is the same one that I was pregnant by and everything. Like he really did try me in the beginning, and I had to let him know, like, sweetheart, that ain't gonna fly around here. And for the longest, even to this day, I show up and I present energy as I'm not to be fucked with. Now, don't get me wrong, around the house, I am wearing, you know, a bonnet or a head wrap. I'm not in a full face makeup, but I am showing up as feminine, but still stern energy. He knows that, not to say that I'm gonna cause a scene or anything like that, but he knows not to play with me. You have to show up in ways that men know not to play with you. He knows that I dress very calm and collected. My hair is usually done. If not, then I have a wrap on. He's watching me take care of myself thoroughly. He sees how in the beginning when we dated, I showed up in a way that he just knew that I'm not gonna go for anything. And that's really what it boiled down to. Like, I had to show up like that. I couldn't just talk the talk and walk the walk. Like, I had to show up like that. You get what I'm saying? So it boils down to your femininity, your confidence, the way you speak, paying attention to detail, the way you respond to discomfort. All of those things play a factor in how you show up. So you want to make sure that you are showing up confident, make sure that you are showing up well put together. Our first date, I wore something very relaxed, but energy I was exuding was, you know, I'm fun, I'm cool, this is some last minute shit, I'm showing up, but like, you still gonna treat me a certain way. You get what I'm saying? And he tried it. He tried me. I ain't gonna lie, he tried me, y'all. We had a rough little beginning. He tried me, but I let him know, you are not gonna play with me. I set the expectation and I showed up as such, confident, walking in the room knowing that I am the prize, letting it be known that, you know, you can keep disappointing me if you want to, and that's gonna be on you. I showed up with that energy anytime we interact, and to this day, I show up with that energy with him. And it's not because I feel like I have to be like that. That's just a way of life. That's just the way of life. Like, I feel like I show up feminine, confident. And when I say confident, I mean like relaxed. I'm not worried about none of that. I'll speak on something if need be, but for the most part, I'm showing up with a certain energy so that he knows you can either match it. And then when you get tired of matching it, if that's too much work for you, you can go. I'm not, that's one thing I don't do is hold nobody hostage. I'm not begging. I'm not doing none of that. I'm just showing up as such. And whatever that means for you, that could look a little different for everybody. Some people, they feel like if you dress a certain way, like red bottoms and black dresses and red bottoms, every time you step out, the nigga gonna wine and dine you. He could still dog walk you in the red bottom. That don't have nothing to do with nothing. You have to show up mentally ready. You know what I'm saying? You have to show up letting them know that, hey, this is the expectation. He knew when we met that I live my life a certain way, and whoever comes into my life is going to have to either match that or exceed it. So either someone can make the adjustments, and if they don't want to, that's fine. It's okay throughout the process when you're dating to realize that everyone's not going to be for everyone. You're not going to like everyone's personality. Everyone's not going to like your personality. But I feel like when it comes to expectations, show up looking like whatever you're demanding. That's it. On our first day, I showed up relaxed because I wanted him to know I'm not some bougie. That's not me. I'm relaxed. We can go on this date and have some fun. But I need to be home a certain time, and no, you cannot come over. Set those expectations. I don't care how much money a nigga spend on you. It don't matter. When me and my boyfriend, that's what I'm saying. He low key, it don't matter how much money a man spend on you. You do not have to, you set them expectations yourself, okay? When we first dated, I told him I'm celibate. He was around for a minute and didn't get no coochie. A minute. But the minute he got some, I was pregnant. So yeah, he was around for a minute. No kuka. I was setting that expectation. You're not finna just spend bread and send me money or do whatever you gonna do and think that I'm finna just go home with you or that you finna go home with me. It's not that. This ain't that. And so I showed up that energy. This ain't that. We can go on this date last minute. I'm cool with spontaneous dates, but let me make sure you know we're not just finna get lit and you finna come over. Like, no, we are going on a date. When the date is over, I am going home and so are you. Show up looking like whatever you trying to demand from a man. For real, for real. They're very visual creatures. I had on some shorts, some little booty shorts on our date, but the energy that I was exuding was still letting him know, like, I'm not, this ain't that. This ain't that. So it was no question on whether or not we was gonna get frisky in the car or nothing, because baby, he already knew. This ain't that. This ain't that. So I just changed. I did this wig in the wife beater just in case it shed, and I knew I was going to be cutting some layers and stuff. But I just changed, and this is the final look. Okay, so this is the final look. I am absolutely loving this. It is so cute. It's the perfect shade of blonde, but this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video going over our tips on how to keep and set expectations with these men, okay? Let me know in the comment section below how you guys have held your men to a certain standard and what expectations or lessons you have learned while trying to set them, because I'd love to hear some of your stories, even if they're crazy. I read every single comment, But yeah, just remember, ladies, do not chase, we attract, we are the prize. Be upfront about your intentions from the beginning. Do not wait till the end. Let them know off the gate, off the rip. This ain't gonna fly, Playboy. Have expectations with yourself. You need to make sure that their day-to-day and your day-to-day reflects those expectations and are realistically obtainable. And then you need to make sure that you are always showing up in a way to where a man knows not to play with you, okay? Show up in a way to where he knows the expectations you're demanding, you mean business and you are for real. Show up confident, show up ready, and do not play, okay? The longer you play, the longer you delay. Don't play. Move them to the side and go find a real nigga, okay? But that is it for today's video. Let me know how y'all feel about the blonde. I haven't done blonde in so long and it is so freaking cute. I absolutely love it. It shed a little bit, not too much, but I absolutely love it. Like, I wish the lace was a little bit longer because it does not go all the way to my ear, but I did just cover it up with the bangs, so I was not worried about it. But I absolutely love this. It's giving me like Hollywood. But if you have any more topics to cover as far as women on our self-care and development journey, please drop them down below. And other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.
One step